Robert Redford, a name synonymous with Hollywood glory, eternal charm, and cinematic brilliance, has graced the screen for decades, leaving an indelible mark on audiences around the world. From his iconic roles in Butch Cassidy and The Sundance Kid to The Sting, Redford's name has been etched into the annals of film history. However, behind the charming smile and the legacy of legendary roles lies a man whose life has been riddled with profound tragedy and personal loss. As the actor approaches his 90th birthday, we uncover the untold story of Robert Redford, a story of quiet strength, heartbreak, and resilience. This is a life marked by more than just success. It is a life defined by the quiet battles, the unseen grief, and the quiet courage that have shaped Redford into the icon we know today. His Hollywood legacy is undeniable, but his personal journey tells a much deeper, heart-wrenching story. What is the truth behind the tragedy and triumph of this beloved figure? How did the darkness behind the scenes impact the man and the legend? Let's dive into the untold struggles that reveal a side of Robert Redford that most of the world has never seen. Robert Redford's story begins not in the glamorous halls of Hollywood, but in the quiet streets of Santa Monica, California, where he was born on August 18, 1936. Raised by Charles Redford, a milkman turned accountant, and Martha Hart, a mother, who always supported her son's dreams, Redford seemed destined for success. But the sharp edge of grief cut through his life early on, leaving deep scars. When he was just 18, Redford experienced the devastating loss of his mother Martha in 1955. Her death, following complications after the birth of twin girls who tragically did not survive, shaped Redford's path forever. Her passing left a void that young Robert struggled to fill. As he grew into adulthood, the weight of her loss lingered, and regret plagued his heart. Despite a promising future, the grief drove him to a path of rebellion. Drag racing, petty theft, and run-ins with the law became his escape. But after an arrest for stolen jewelry, Redford had a moment of clarity, a wake-up call that led him to change his life's course. Soon after, he earned a sports scholarship to the University of Colorado, where he joined the baseball team. However, his growing passion for art, followed by excessive drinking, forced him to abandon his scholarship and drop out of school. In an effort to reset his life, Redford moved to Europe, where he studied painting. This journey ignited his passion for the arts and set him on a path that would eventually lead him to Hollywood, where his future as a global superstar began to unfold. Redford's personal journey would prove that his hardships were far from over. In 1958, he married his first wife, Lola Van Wagenen, and together they had a family. However, tragedy struck when their infant son, Scott, tragically passed away from a sudden illness. The devastating loss of their first child is something Redford would later describe as one of the darkest periods of his life. This heartbreak did not break them, however. Redford and Lola continued their family and were blessed with 3 more children, Shauna, Jamie, and Amy. But their lives would not be free from suffering. Their second son, Jaime, was born prematurely and faced life-threatening health issues, including respiratory problems that doctors struggled to diagnose. Jaime survived, but the emotional toll on Robert and Lola was immeasurable. Yet, it was the ongoing health battles their son faced that would forever change Redford's perspective on life. As Jaime grew older, he was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, a condition that later led to cirrhosis of the liver. By 31, Jaime was in desperate need of a liver transplant. Redford, despite his bustling career, made it his priority to be there for his son, flying back and forth between filming locations to ensure he was by his side. Through all the health scares, Jaime remained a source of strength, becoming a filmmaker and environmental advocate himself. But the toll on Robert Redford's heart never fully healed. Robert Redford's marriage to Lola Van Wagenen lasted 28 years, but as his career soared, their relationship began to crack under the weight of their personal challenges. The couple separated in 1985, and Redford later described the divorce as mutual but filled with regret. Despite their separation, Redford and Lola remained close friends, forever bonded by their shared love for their children and the years they spent together. However, their divorce was not the only heartbreak Redford would endure. In 2020, he suffered the unimaginable. He lost his son Jaime at the age of 58 after a battle with liver cancer. This loss was another crushing blow for a man who had already faced so much grief in his lifetime. Redford, ever the private person, chose to grieve quietly at his ranch in Utah, surrounded by his family. The pain of losing another child was, as he would later admit, an experience no parent should ever have to endure. Redford's family faced yet another tragedy in 1983 when his daughter Shauna's fiancé Sid Wells was murdered. Wells, a journalism student, was found shot in the head in his apartment, and though the primary suspect was his roommate, the case remained unsolved. Shauna, devastated by the loss, struggled with the unanswered questions surrounding Sid's murder, a haunting mystery that still lingers in the Redford family. This murder, coupled with the emotional toll of Redford's own personal losses, painted a picture of a man who had endured more than most could ever imagine. Though Redford's personal life was riddled with heartache, he found solace and strength in his friendships. In particular, his close bond with Paul Newman, whom he met while working on Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, was a source of light in his darkest hours. Redford and Newman shared a playful brotherly friendship, and when Redford's marriage to Lola ended, Newman was there for him, offering support and guidance. Sadly, Newman passed away in 2008, and Redford described his loss as that of a brother, a reflection of just how much Newman had meant to him. In addition to Newman, Redford was deeply affected by the tragic death of actress Natalie Wood, a close friend who had starred alongside him in Inside Daisy Clover. Wood's death, which occurred under mysterious circumstances in 1981, left Redford devastated. Their friendship had been deeply meaningful, and her untimely passing served as another reminder of how fragile life truly is. While Redford's career reached soaring heights, his relationship with fame was always a complicated one. Known for his good looks and charisma, Redford found himself often typecast in roles that emphasized his rugged charm rather than his acting talent. His frustration with this led him to step behind the camera, and in 1980, he directed Ordinary People, winning an Academy Award for Best Director. This decision to take control of his career allowed him to focus on telling stories that were meaningful to him and allowed him to escape the confines of the fame that often overshadowed his true talents. As Redford moved into his later years, he chose to step away from the spotlight, seeking a quieter life away from Hollywood's relentless demands. However, he continued to pour his energy into supporting independent cinema through the Sundance Institute and the Sundance Film Festival, both of which have become major forces in the world of film. As Redford nears 90, his life has come full circle. His struggles with health, aging, and the toll of losing so many friends and loved ones have made him more reflective, more thoughtful, and more connected to what truly matters. He continues to be involved in his environmental work, and through his contributions to film, he has left a legacy that will resonate for generations. Yet, beyond his cinematic contributions, Redford's true legacy lies in the strength he has shown through his tragedies. He remains a symbol of resilience, an example of how a person can find meaning and purpose even in the most difficult of times. As he enjoys his later years, Redford has embraced the simple joys of life, surrounded by his family, his grandchildren, and the mountains of Utah that have always been a source of comfort. As we reflect on the life of Robert Redford, we are reminded that his story is not just one of fame and fortune, but one of enduring strength through unimaginable pain. His legacy, both in Hollywood and beyond, is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. What do you think Robert Redford's life teaches us about facing tragedy and finding strength in the face of adversity? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories of Hollywood legends and the untold truths behind their lives. Also, check out the next video, where we dive deep into another iconic figure's hidden battles. You won't want to miss it.